Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to the new version of the Jurassic World Evolution new species tutorial. Today we'll be using Mamenchisaurus as the model and rig for our new species. The new species we're going to be doing is Argentinosaurus. And for the prefab selection, we'll be using dreadnoughtus from the second DLC, because dreadnoughtus and Mamenchisaurus should have rigs that are similar, and it lets us use a content 0 animal without having to deal with the main OVL of content 0. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is select the content pack that we want to use, copy it, and we're going to give it a folder name of the same length as content PDLC2. Just like so. In here, we're going to edit the manifest to have the same folder name. And we're going to go online to this online unique ID generator. Generate one, copy it, and we're going to paste it right here. Save that. Next up, we're going to make two new folders, init and main. Now we're going to launch our tools. We're going to open up the init OVL, go into the init folder here, and we're going to extract our FDBs, the Lua, our prefab basis asset package, so it's dreadnoughtus, and all the asset packages related to it. So we need a size large, we need the size standard, we need icons and large fossils for research. In total, and you can close the tools now, in total we need 5 asset packages, a Lua file, and 3 FDB files. We're now going to rename our files. Replace content PDLC2 with the lowercase version of our folder name, which is mod Argentino. Do the same here. And then we're going to select a new username or codename to replace dreadnoughtus of the same length. So dreadnoughtus is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 characters. So we need a new 13 character name. There we go. And then we're going to set our other asset packages to use our folder name. Just like so. And with that, we're done renaming the files. So let's open up our asset packages. In them, we're going to open them all up in Notepad++. We're going to search and replace all instances of content PDLC2, which is capitalized. We're going to replace that with our capitalized version of our content folder, mod Argentino, in all open documents. We're also going to search for dreadnoughtus. and replace it with the new code name. Replacing all open documents. And now we're also going to make sure that our asset package naming scheme for these files matches what we see here. So where we see dp1, change that out with underscore mod Argentina. Replacing all open documents, just like so. We're going to save all, and then we're going to close these. We're now going to open the Lua. Similar thing, anywhere you see content PDLC2, replace with mod Argentino. And now we don't need this we don't want to have a cache load, so we're just going to remove these two lines, and we're going to remove these two lines, or these lines right here. We're going to save that and close it. Now we're going to open up in SQL Lite Studio our dinosaur ownership FDB. We're gonna set one of these rows to a custom species ID, and you'll have to make sure to write it down somewhere. For me, I'm just gonna choose 2654, and we're gonna remove the other two, change this to base game, and commit that. Sorry, 2654. So just choose a unique species ID. I generally recommend to use 4-digit or 5-digit numbers. Okay, we're gonna go to research ownership, and we're gonna go here to the security ownership. Once again, set the research ID to the same as our species ID, 2654. Delete these ones, change this to base game, and commit it. And for our expeditions, same thing, except now we're going to use our dreadnoughtus replacement code name, just like so. Then change this to base game, and remove the other two. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is open the tools, press File, New. We're going to navigate over to the init folder that we chose, that we made. Select this folder, File, Save, and then we're going to save over this init OVO, just like so. Now we're going to open up the main OVO. And now what we're going to do is replace all instances of content PDLC2 with our new folder name, mod Argentina. And then we're going to hash that. All instances of dreadnoughtus. We're going to replace with our new code name. And we're going to hash that. And then for any remaining files that we have in this archive, we're going to change them to file names that disable the files. So just choose some kind of garbage text that you want to replace them with, and make sure to change it up from mod to mod, because the game does not like loading duplicate files of the same name. So I have Carcharodontosaurus as one of our files we need to replace, if we, as you see here. So I'm just going to type in carc. I'm just going to replace it with ZZZCH, just like so. And then we're going to do the same to Iguanodon. Just just replace it and make sure you use the same length of characters. ZZZ, Control H, and then if we go through the list here, do we have any other garbage files left? We have, I don't see any so far. Oh, right here, we have this one right here. So it's also changed DLC to ZZZ. Okay. So now every file in the database or in the archive has been given either a garbage name or is a file that we want to keep. So we're going to save this. And we're going to save main. And then we're going to open a different OVL and then reopen the main to clear the cache. And now we're going to go into this main folder and we're going to extract our files. So we're going to extract these 3 FDBs, expeditions, research, and dinosaurs. We're going to extract our species Lua. We're going to extract InGen database data, comms data, and our Lua database. And we're going to extract our size large for our species, and we're going to extract our fossils for our species, our size standard for our species, and our fossils large for our species. In total, you should have 4 Lua files, 3 FDB files, and 4 user interface icon data files. Now we're going to delete the meta files here. And we're going to delete the bin files except for this one of our species. So the database bin files, delete them. Our species Lua, delete it and replace it with the bin by changing the extension. Okay, we're going to close the tools for a bit. We're going to open up our user interface icon data and icon data B files in Notepad++. We're going to change all instances of dreadnoughtus with our new species code name in all open documents. And then if you go to the B files, there's that DP1 that we changed before. Change that to match the ACSE packages. So we changed that to _mod Argentina. So all open documents do that as well. And just go review all of them. Make sure they're all changed. Save all. And close Notepad++. Now we're going to open up the database Luas. We're going to search and replace content PDLC2 and replace it with our folder name that we made in all open documents. And then we're going to remove this line here from the comms data, and we're going to remove this line here from the comms data so that it only has the one hatchery line. Change this _ dreadnoughtus to our species code name. You can leave this one as it is. Save that file. In the InGen database, just make sure that there's nothing in here. Just make sure it looks like this, where it just has inside these brackets nothing except for these. And then in our Lua database, remove all the lines in this table insert area except for comms data and InGen database data so that it looks like this. Okay, and then save this and close. Open up Argentinosaur at Lua in a hex editor of your choice. And then we're going to search and find. And we're going to search for dreadnoughtus. And then we're going to search and replace it with our new code name for it. So in our case, argentinosaur. Make sure it's case sensitive, and then replace all. It should replace 2 occurrences. Save that and close it. Now we're going to open up our dinosaurs FDB. Start at the species tab here. Add a new row. Make sure you use the same species ID from before that you wrote down. In our case, it was 2654. Type in our code name into here and into here. And then set the values as you want for everything else. I usually just make them match the dinosaur that we're basing the armature off of. In this case, the Mamenchisaurus. But it should be fine to just use the dreadnoughtus in this case as well, because they're so similar. So just like so. Change DLC pack to base game. And then commit this. Now we take note that dreadnoughtus is 301. So in all the other tabs now, just change it to be the 2654. Commit it. And remove other rows that we don't need. And yeah, you can change all the stats to be what you want. For the simulation, I recommend using the values of your armature animal, in our case, Mamenchisaurus. So now, we just go through changing things. Removing garbage data as we find it from other things, so we don't need any hunt declarations. Set our diseases. And our cosmetics. I recommend using the format from the Mamenchisaurus or from your armature base, not your prefab base, for this. So remove the ones you don't need. Set the species ID. Okay, so now at this point, we have to take note of the new code name based on our armature species, because the armature species has a different length of characters in its name from our prefab base. Dreadnoughtus is 13 characters, but Mamenchisaurus is 14 characters. So in here, we're going to change the variant names to the variant name here to be a new 14 character code name. So argentinosaur, and then I'm going to just add the U that we're missing to make it 14 characters. Just like so. And then the resource name, use the 13 character name that we had, which is argentinosaur. Just like that. Commit that. done for the dinosaurs. Now let's do the research. Declare a new row. Give it the 13 the dreadnoughtus replacement name. Set the ID, sort and track ID to be the same. For subcategory, I recommend using 802, 803, or 804 and making your mod depend on ACSE, which is what I will be doing here, just like so. And then fill in the rest of the data. Change your icon. Change your fossil, just like so. Boom. Remove the other three. Check if there's any declarations in here that we have to delete. And there's not. Excellent. Now we go to expeditions. Start at genomes, add a new genome. Argentinosaur, replacing the dreadnoughtus codename. Set the species like usual. And then we can copy the rest of the data. Make it quicker. Change this as needed. If you have a new family text file, change this. And then commit this. Then we go to fossils. And we add a new one. DNA argentinosaur. Copy the values. Set the genome ID to be our new one. Just commit that. Then we go to dig site fossils and set it to use the new DNA. Just like so. Remove ones we don't need. And then also the research ID over here, make sure to change it to be our species ID. Commit that. Do the same for the other ones. Just like so. Commit it. Go through the other ones. Remove any dig sites you can if they're present, except for the one you're using. And then now we can go and delete these other DNAs, and then we can go to the genomes and delete these other genomes. And if there's anything in the weighted quantities, just wipe it. Now we're done the main. So open our tools. Open up the main OVL. We're going to type in content PDLC2 and type in mod Argentina, the folder replacement that we set, and make sure it's the capitalized forms. And we're going to press dat edit, Control J. Save. Then we're going to reopen it again. Then we're going to type dreadnoughtus and replace it with our dreadnoughtus replacement name. And type, and then do the same, dat edit, save, reopen. And now we can inject our new files here. Just select the user interface icon data files. These B ones will be grabbed alongside them. So just do this. Then we save once again. And now we're going to open this audio OVL here. And we're going to delete those paths, save the audio OVL. Make sure that it opens correctly. It does. Now we're going to go to our dinosaurs OVL. So let's go grab the Memenchisaurus one from content 0. Change the name to our codename, argentinosaur. Delete the ones we don't need. Change the name of the OVL. Oops. Just like so. Okay, so now let's load that OVL. Okay, now what you're gonna do is you're gonna type our species here, Memenchisaurus, and add an @ sign. Then you're gonna type in your Memenchisaurus codename replacement. Remember, it's a different length from the other one. And then add the @ sign as well. Then you're gonna hash that. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna remove the @ change this to use the code name that replaces the, well, in our case, the dreadnoughtus, so the prefab animal. Select new species hash, hash again, and then uncheck it, change this back to our Memenchisaurus replacement codename, hash one more time, and now we're going to save this. Then we're going to reopen it. Just like so. And now we're going to type in the capitalized form of our Memenchisaurus and our Memenchisaurus replacement codename. Just like so. And then we're going to select species.edit. Let it do its work. Then we're going to save. And now we're done the OVL for, and then of course you can extract the texture, reopen this, extract the textures, extract the model, and edit those if you wish. That's not relevant for this tutorial, so I'm not going to cover that. Now let's go over to the UI, icons, and asset packages overlay list. We're going to hash the relevant ones to be what we need. So dreadnoughtus gets replaced with its codename replacement. Hash that. DP1 from before. Remember, we changed that to mod Argentino. So hash that as well. And then we're going to save that. Reopen it. And then we're going to delete the ones we don't need from here. So we don't need this. We don't need this. And we don't need this. Save once more. Now we're going to go over to the folder here. We're going to delete the folders we don't need. Change the names to be what they need to be. Just like so. Keeping the name scheme consistent across the asset package, user interface icon data, and the files themselves. Oops. There we go. Now we're going to open each of these. We're going to change dreadnoughtus to its replacement code name. Hash it. Save. We're going to do that for all of these, and also delete the files we don't need along the way. Okay, we can close this. Navigate to our audio, delete all these, delete all these. We're almost done. You can delete this init folder, delete this main folder. Now we go to the localized, English, United States. Make a new folder called block. Open our tools again. And then we're gonna open up our lock OVO. In the lock folder, extract a research description and a research title. We can also now take our dreadnoughtus and hash it to be the species code name that replaces it. Search for our new species. Take all those files, just put them there with the research ones. If you did a new family text, take it as well and change it to be what it needs to be. If you made new dig site stuff, take that as well. In our case, we did not do that. So close the tools, change the research number to be our species ID. Open all these up in Notepad+. Search for dreadnoughtus. Replace it with our species name. And all the open documents. The code name, change it to be a custom one. Then, you know, go through changing all the stuff to be what it needs to be. So the research description, change it to what it needs to be. You know, it's fairly straightforward. Just go through all your text files here and make sure they're what they need to be. And then once you're done, save them all. open the tools, select File, New, navigate over to our lock folder, select it, File, Save, and then we're going to save over the lock that we have. Let's close the tools, delete this lock folder now, and then replace this replace all your other, lock OVLs for the other languages to be the new ones. Okay, and with that, we should be good to test out the animal and see if it works. Hopefully this works. At this point, we know that the main and init files are fine because it loaded into game. We have our new species right there. So let's incubate it. And we wait for it to incubate. Well, let's wait for that to finish. Take a look at some other animals while we're waiting. Should be finished soon. It's halfway there. In the meantime, we can check, see if... Alright, we can't check the Zoopedia because this is a sandbox. It's almost done. And there we go. New species in 35 minutes. Granted, we didn't do any model editing or texture editing, but that's the fun stuff. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Hope you guys enjoyed the new species tutorial with the new tools. I'll talk to you guys later.